Okay, let's pick up with the number that are sterilized. So the number that are sterilized, they're not sterilized if it's 0, they're sterilized if it's a 1. So first of all, I could just count. What do you suppose it might be? Let's equal count. This is M. So M2 to M1001. I could go in and define the sterilized variable. I think right now I won't. So how many values in M have, how many cells in M have values 1,000? Look what happens if I do this. Count M to M. That still says 1,000. Let's look about count. Count says it counts the number of cells that contain numbers. What about count A? It counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. Ooh, that's interesting. So if I did count A, column M, it's going to give me 1,001 because in column M, there's 1,000 bits rows of data plus the header. But I just want numbers, so I'm just going to go with the count. Okay. Now the problem is I just want the number that are sterilized. So I don't want to count all of them. I only want to count them if the value equals 1. So we're going to go not with count. We are going to do a, oh dear, we're going to do a count if. So count if counts the number of cells within a range that meet the given condition. That's what we want. So I'm going to count if, open my parentheses, you give the range of cells that you're interested in, and then the criteria. The range of cells that I'm interested in is all of column M. So I will do all of column M. The criteria is that the value is 1. So when I do that, there are 483. How about not sterilized? Well, that will be count if in column M, we have the criteria. We want zeros. They're not sterilized. And notice that we have all 1,000 broken up into those two categories. Now next, let's look at the number of rows with no data in the in.reason column. So the in.reason column is here. How many of those have data? I don't see any blanks, but are there any? What would be the code? Let's count. Notice there's a blank. What's that say? It counts the number of cells that contain, what's count blank? It counts the number of cells, empty cells, in a specified range. Oh, now look at what we do here. If we count blank, we want to know how many are blank in the J column. We're going to get a huge number because this is selecting all of column J. Of course, at the bottom, right, it keeps on going. There's lots of blanks. So we don't want all of column J. We want from row 2 to row 1001. How many blanks are there? And it says 0. Let's do a test. Let's delete something. If I delete that, how many are blank? Now it says 1. I'm going to Control Z to undo that to get back to 0. But sometimes it's nice to see, is there any data missing? And so you can count the blanks to see if there's anything missing. What percent of the in reason variables are stray? Okay, well, that would be how many of them are strays divided by how many total there are. First, let's see how many are stray. So we want to count if this column J That's the range. We want it to equal stray. Now, stray is text, so I want to put it in quotes, and capitalization matters. I want the value to exactly be capital STRAY as a string, and so I'm putting it in quotes. Numbers don't need to go in quotes, but this says it's a word. How many strays are there? 724. Now, I want the percent, so I could divide by 1,000, but that's because I know there's 1,000 data points. I'm going to be more precise, and I'm going to divide by the count of however many values there are in J. Ooh, it's going to tell me that's bad. Let's see about why it's bad. Let's read about the count. The count gives a number of cells that contain numbers. Ooh, there are no numbers here. Remember count A. It gives the number of cells that are not empty. That's the one that I want. So I want to divide by count A the number that have values, and we'll say from cell J2 to J1001. And, whoops, it doesn't like it. What doesn't it like? There we go. Let's come back here. It's upset with some capitalization. I'm just going to start over. Let's count how many are not empty in cell J2 to cell J1001. And we knew it was the number we had before divided by 1,000. Now, if I want to make that look like a percent, I'm going to change that to a percent. Let me add a couple decimals. Let me add just one decimal. So 72.4% are strays. Lastly, how many animals are named Buddy? Pause me and go ahead and do that and then come back. See, lots of animals are named Buddy, right? So I literally just chose, I wonder if there's a Buddy. Let's look. We want to count if the value in the column name is Buddy. So we want to count if, first we put the range, and so the range is N. Then we're going to put the criteria, and the criteria is I want Buddy. There we go. And there are 3 buddies in our that have lived in our animal shelter.